Hi, this is Katie, and thank you for joining me on the My Senses, My Space podcast. And this is a podcast about feeling the world intensely, creating time to evaluate your needs, and planning your life and space to fit you. So today I wanted to talk about the words or terms load, balance, which I want to refocus on the word focus, and capacity and how these play out in your life. So the combination of all of these is how your life unfolds, what commitments that you have, what pleasure and enjoyment and fun that you get out of life, things that help you learn and grow. All of these things come together, right? That you live your daily life. But when we sit down to kind of like plan out the week or figure out our appointments or figure out what our to-dos are and priorities are, these are the things that come into it. Now, I am going to be doing a future episode on figuring out priorities, but I will mention that a little bit in here. So first, talking about load. Load is what you have said yes to in your life, what you have to do as well. It's a combination of what you can control and what you can't control. These are the things that are sitting on your shoulders that you have to complete. And also combined with things that you want to complete. So it can be, you have to take the kids to school and you have to go to work or you have to do chores and manage the household and those things. But you also want to learn and take breaks and take time in nature and, take time with friends, all those things. And so this is like a container of what can happen within your day. Not that it has to happen, but these are the things that you're kind of containing. And you can do like a brain dump on these of like, this is all the things that I have that could be possibilities and all the things that I have to do. This can also come about because of societal pressures. Many times when you are managing a household, there are a lot of duties on top of that, of taking care of things within your house, keeping track of what needs to be refilled and refreshed, appointments to health practitioners and social dates and everything. It can be a lot. So this won't be an episode on how to rebalance that if it's out of balance within your relationship or however your life is structured, whether you're co-parenting, whether you have a partner you live with, whatever, or that you're solo. It just can be a lot. And so why I call this load is it can feel heavy on your shoulders. And looking at it as a partnership and what can you discuss with a partner that you live with or other friends and family, how can you kind of rebalance that load? And I'm going to get to the word balance, but in this sense, sometimes you really need to have help in these situations because it can all be way too much and you can experience burnout. But the load itself is a combination of what you've agreed to and what you have to do. The next term is balance. So balance, we love to use this term as like, oh, I have work-life balance, right? Even if you aren't going to a job that's outside of your home, you have like commitments at home that you're doing. There's this like notion of like going, well, as much as I work on things, whether, cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, doing presentations, getting on the Zoom meetings, whatever that is, working hard should be balanced with all this playtime and, time to just let all that off of your shoulders. I think this can be a very kind of, I don't know if it's volatile or kind of like this, really kind of discuss, does this even exist? And I don't think true balance ever exists. I think it's a societal pressure that is often put upon moms or people who are non-binary in the relationship, who tend to take up a lot of the caretaking roles. And it's kind of this, well, if you do it hard enough, if you put all this energy into it, then you deserve to have time off. It's not something that we should say that we are rewarded with rest. That's not accurate. We need rest to keep doing things. So we can also conceive of balance as like, well, I'm putting focus into the home. I'm putting focus into my spirituality. I'm putting focus into personal care. I'm putting focus into financial projects that we have. And I don't think we ever have like an exact balance of all of these happening. Personally, I, use the Moxie Life system and for my planner, and it has all of these categories. You can also use these categories in other planners and in other systems that are very similar to this. They kind of take your life and divide it into all of these different things. And it can help you see that one area might be neglected, but it also is kind of like this expectation on you of like, well, I should be pouring energy into that because everything should be equal, right? No, there are so many times where these areas in our lives just don't have anything going on in them, and you can leave them blank and you can refocus your energy elsewhere and saying, well, the financial stuff is kind of being taken care of right now. We set up a lot of stuff maybe a couple months ago. We're just writing out like our plan and just following it. And so I'm not going to put a lot of energy into that because I'm going to focus over here on a new work project. So it really, to me, is like looking at how to put focus into the things that are important to you, which can be rest and having fun, and also getting something really important at work done, or taking a family trip, or just an evening out or something like that. That prioritizing what is most important to you at that season or period of time in your life. It is not going to be equally balanced. It's going to feel at times imbalanced. And I don't want people to feel like that imbalance means something is wrong with you. You're just taking in the information and you're seeing what is happening in your life from your load and seeing what is most important to. And sometimes we are doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that each day so that we're making progress on a couple main things at the same time. But there isn't going to be like picturing this scale of balance going, oh, well, my work is equally balanced with my home life and my, rest time. So that doesn't really happen. So think of it as, what am I focusing on? What am I planning to put my energy into? What am I really wanting to achieve? So if I say no to some things, I have access and capacity to do these other things. And that brings us to capacity. So capacity to me is how you're waking up every day and figuring out what your energy level is. This is not about how much you have on your shoulders. It's about really saying, okay, I have this load, which is all the commitments that I have. I have this focus on where I would ideally like to focus my energy. But capacity is that day, how are you waking up to any chronic illness symptoms that you're having, any neurodivergencies of burnout or trying to recuperate from the day before. It's all of those things where you could be just getting over an illness. You could be have taken care of a child who was sick, or a parent, or anyone else in your family or friend. It can be that you've been working so hard on certain things that you just need rest. So waking up every morning and saying, okay, how do I feel today? Taking the time to slowly enter your day if you can. If sometimes you can't, sometimes you have to rush out the door, but really recognizing what is your capacity for the day, because I think there can be a lot of societal pressure on saying, well, I need to be 100% today, or at least 80% today, but your 20% may be your 100% for the day. So what do I mean by that? So you may wake up and go, okay, my energy is really low. So I'm not going to judge it on and compare it to other people's 100%. I'm going to create my own 100% and work within that. And your 100% is compared to what your other days are, not your former self days, not maybe when you didn't have as strong of symptoms with chronic illness, maybe you didn't have as much burnout. It can be that when you're younger, we compare ourselves to like, oh yeah, well, 20-year-old me could do all these things, but 40-year-old me can't. So it's not that. It's like looking at the last 6 months to a year and what is your capacity now? And some days you'll have 20% of you capacity, but that still equals 100% of your energy for the day and how you're going to dole that out to what you want to focus on. So this is where things cannot go to plan. So you may be like, ideally I have, this set amount of time and I can get all this done. But when you wake up that morning and you feel a certain way, we need to say, yes, I surrender to this is all I have today and this is all I have to give. And try to see how we can use that, not to the most efficient point of everything we want to focus on. It's not about using up that full 20% and then burning out on that, right? You don't want to go to 21% and then the next day you can't do anything. Like, it's looking at what can you do with the energy that you have for that day. And every day is going to shift. So sometimes I like to make plans in the evenings and go, okay, I forgot about these things today. Let me put them on the list so that I make sure I do them tomorrow. But every morning, I swear, I wake up and I'm like, I have no idea how the day is going to go. And then it starts to kind of settle in and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we don't have any groceries. I forgot about that. So that may take up all of my energy for the day. And that's about it. Or, my son's having a hard time and I need to help support him. Or all these other life things kind of come in that are unexpected. So how can we kind of go, okay, well, the focus I had yesterday, that I wanted to focus on today is just not going to happen. And so we do kind of need to surrender to saying that this is my capacity and this is what I have to give. And it takes refocusing as well. So maybe a looming deadline becomes more prominent when I have less capacity and saying, okay, I'm going to focus on that and I'm going to let these other things go because that's the most important. So I hope this kind of helps reframe load and then balance, from balance to focus, and then capacity. Next, we're going to go into, how do you prioritize and look at what you want to focus on, but that will be another episode. So thank you for joining me on the My Senses, My Space podcast.